Hey, Max here. So there's some major market manipulation today in MLB The Show. We're going to go over that and what it might mean for everything going forward. We have a content schedule. I'll talk about what's going on with this and everything that's, if you look at the event, the featured program and roster there on the 29th, we'll talk about that with the upgrades and downgrades for the season, about investments there. And kind of that's what it is, right? Speculating. There's a few things we can talk about in speculation there, but let's talk about the market manipulation up first. So if you guys have seen it today, it was all over the community. People talking about, which is strange, Mike Trout. Weird. Nobody ever talks about Mike Trout, right? Pretty underknown, underground guy, known player, not really understand across the game. Anyways, dumb. This card, it was crazy manipulated up, and it happened quite a lot this morning, and we'll talk about that. But and we'll speculate on the sources why. Obviously SDS pays attention to it. It is strange because the speculation for why this happened, there's a couple possible solutions. The most popular ones are transferring stubs from one account to another through third party means, the black market and stuff, and not just buying it from SDS, buying it through other means. The other one is somebody's trying to manipulate the market for some reason and trying to raise the price of Mike Trout unnaturally. It did go up a little bit. It was like 300K before today. We're seeing it sell now is about 319, so it's up a little bit. But if somebody was trying to manipulate the price of Mike Trout, they failed spectacularly. The market says he's 319 or 300 to 319, and that's kind of just where he is, even with this person dumping. I'll show it to you. So if you look at the Mike Trout, you can go through the sales history over the last day. Now, not all of these things are going to be here. I'll talk about that in a second. So a lot of these sales are here. This I had up earlier today, but basically you can see what happened. We'll talk about it. Somebody throughout the day did this multiple times. I think it's close to about 10 times. I don't know the exact number, but they took him from about 300,000 when he started from the early part of the day, and you see a bunch of these happen, like 12, 17 here. There were sometimes 25, 30 sales within 1 minute of each other, where they just skyrocketed in price, and they kept taking them up to about 600K, right? 700K, and they stopped just short of that. This one right here, 1218. They bought a bunch of them here in 1218 all the way up to 639, and then it looks like they just got undersold and just all right here at 1218 also for 3. So it was a very interesting time. 630K right here got sold for. So some people that were maybe riding it were selling and buying at 300, and then when this person decided to sell it all the way up to 630, we're listing it up. So I don't know. Mike Trout, we've seen this happen to a lot of cards. Generally not something so watched. We've talked about this many a times. There'll be cards. Sometimes people do it through equipment too, where you got to buy up the entire category in order to a stub transfer at a certain high different number. And so people will do that. They'll buy up the whole category. Buying up a whole category of a card so expensive is, I feel like they've lost a lot of stubs doing this, because if they were trying to manipulate it, it didn't really work for very long. We saw them keep trying it. 130, you see all of these buys at 130 as they keep trying to push the market up. But people as it went along, people got used to it, and they just started listing their Mike Trout stuff, and people listed a ton of them so high they got done early on in the morning. They didn't have to do as many, but later on you saw a lot of cards start to go up and then almost immediately crash down 350, 360. 390. So it's kind of hard for just an individual to do this. It's not SDS just buying these things up and raising it. So that happened multiple times. Not only Mike Trout, I saw it also happen to, I think, Vlad. It happened to Scherzer. Who knows the exact cause or reason why they did that? More than likely, I'd say 75% chance that it was the stub transferring, but I don't know. I think SDS is going to take a look into the accounts doing that thing, and there might be some bans handed out. But anyways, let's move on to Friday. As we see, there's a ton of content coming Friday. It's going to be huge on the show. We got 3 whole things right on this thing. Featured program and roster, 5 bosses, moments, and conquests, first roster attribute upgrade and downgrade of the season, new event, new uniform, and tops. Now events we always talk about, you probably want to have the event where we're done or bought before the new event if you're looking to do the big set. Now, a lot of people are investing for that big set that's generally probably going to come out like last year around the end of May-ish area. I know we've talked about previously about if you got cards, like Mike Trout, if you didn't sell them today for profit, wait for that stub sale because that will rise the price and then continue to rise throughout the summer with more stub sales until he's like, last year got up to like 500 to 600K, which, he got to that number today, which is kind of wild. But this is kind of what we're talking about. Let's talk about the roster update, okay? And we'll talk about the featured program and roster 2 in a second. Let's talk about that roster upgrades. First, attribute upgrades and downgrades of the season. You can go ahead, obviously, go to players like Fangraphs pages, look at their, batting average, slugging. It's isolated for power. But if you really want to look at these roster updates, the players that really change, right? You see starting pitcher, you got his position change. Hits per 9, Ks per 9, walks per 9. So, like, for pitchers, if you look at some, like, a pitcher on a page, if his year, like this year, if his K rates jumped, if his walk rates lowered, then you can kind of see those two things. The hit rate, obviously, the hits per 9 gets, depending on how much hits per 9 they give up, that gets manipulated too. So, that's something to look out for. I'm not going to give away specific investments this year. It takes a lot of time and effort, and I just didn't put that in. I'm not like I got very tepid response from when I asked people if they wanted me to do upgrade downgrade investment videos. So I'm not going to do them because like I got to give the people what they want. If they didn't want it, we're not going to do it. So anyways, that's kind of what we're looking at. But like the biggest tip I have for you is maybe look at the forums. So there's always going to be people disappointed at who got upgraded, who got downgraded, who's playing well. No matter who it is, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to get on any random names. But what's going to happen is the players that are invested in to like go up in price. Now, some of these players are high in price due to set demands, like Tampa Bay Rays are pretty high in price due to that reason. Some of them are thought because, they're speculating on their overall performance. That's why they're going to go up, right? So the big crash is going to happen Friday on these investments. It's the cheapest day to get in on investments will be within like, those 15, 30 minutes of server changeover because people are just going to dump their failed investments on the market to get their stubs back, to do whatever they want. They think, oh, this is but like basically that's the best time. If you want to invest then for 2 weeks from now, if like they didn't get bumped today or Friday, 2 weeks from that Friday is the potential. So like you might want to have your research done. Obviously have the guys, have them stocked up. And then like, so if somebody goes up and you can quick sell them for profit, take those profits and immediately, like right away, or if you don't do it, wait till Friday. And that's really when you want to buy these cards. Because these cards, a lot of them have been high for a long time because of how well they've played. So maybe they aren't in great investments right now, especially with the change over to quick sell values, right? Like 80's no longer quick sell for 1,000, they quick sell for 400, which I hate what they did with the market. But it's definitely worth looking into silvers because of how low they quick sell. The problem is like most silvers, they're not going for these prices. They're going for multiple times these prices because people are really thinking they're going to go to gold. Diamonds are only like 3,000 until you get up to like 88s to go back to what they had a few years ago, or last year. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is like Friday is going to be a flood of like failed investments put onto the market. So you want to be buying on Friday, okay? And generally, like buying on pack days is just a good idea because people are opening packs for the new content for Eckersley today. But that's kind of what you want to look out for. The other thing is, if you saw that content schedule, you definitely want to take a look at the future program. So 5 new bosses. They don't say new, hidden, anything like that. So you can basically go through the Legends roster on, like you can, if you want to predict who's going to come out Friday, it's not really going to help you that much, but you can just kind of go through here, roster control, look at these things, just like look through the long ball, beast, expansion era, mid-centuries, and free agents, and then you kind of guess like, oh, we're going to get one, like maybe it's going to be a Smoltz, Musina. Like one of these cards could get a decent card early on as one of the bosses. So like that's how you can kind of tell. Like it's sad that we're not getting a whole lot of new legends in this game. I don't know why they don't sign a whole bevy of new like players every year since they seem to be making a decent amount of money going with all these different systems and stuff. The other thing is, so like that program's going away, right? Face of the franchise going away. I don't know if there's going to be a way of getting these cards going forward. But the supply seems to be drying up. So it's not a bad idea if you do want to collect them, if you want to have them, whether you're going to invest in them. They're 90 overalls. And if you see 90 overalls, it's like 1 or 2 below like the top of the market right now. So a lot of these things going for 9,000 stubs. Like the minimum amount that a 90 can sell for is 8,000 stubs. So really the downside is like what, 1,800 on this Cronenworth. But like the chance that he goes up is pretty good because there's no more supply. So it's not a bad idea especially the face of the franchise collection going forward for that big collection. Not a bad idea to grab a few of them. Obviously you don't have to stick a lot of them, but like they feel like they're close to like 20,000 stub cards than 9,000 stub cards. But of course, we'll see that going forward depending on supply. SDS loves bringing back old programs as new rewards and like events and whatnot. Eckersley down to 19K because he's just eh. So that's what we're looking like there. Face of the franchise, guys. Low BR cards. We saw BR card just absolutely, rocket up in price because we thought we were gonna get them again like we did last year, but SDS decided not to bring them back. So like a lot of these silvers, let me look at Real Mudo. He maxed out, right? He went all the way up to 5,000 stubs here, where he was trending a little bit lower. So do you see how his price is a little bit low early on in the program? Now, we didn't know they were going to go away because later on in the year, they brought back BR cards later on. So it's kind of a straight upward signal. So we can kind of go take a look at the BR program right now, whether you're working through it at the moment or you've already got through it. Take a look at these bronzes. What are they going for? 1,900. Like, if they don't bring them back next season, it might not be a bad idea to grab a few of these. You could potentially double your stubs on some of these if they do max out. I don't know what those ones are. Maybe the silvers are more valuable. 1,900. So that's another potential solution. But like I said, like if SDS ever brings back these BR cards, the next BR, right? Like if we see that, these things are instantly going down to like 1,000. So it's a pretty risky scheme to invest in these cards, but you know what, with nothing risked, nothing is gained. Okay, so this one's 6,300 for a Grandal. So these golds are a lot more expensive than the silvers and bronzes, but they're all about the same rarity. So it's interesting how some are super high, but the golds are super high, whereas the ones right before them on the path are not as much so. So a better return on value potentially for the bronzes and silvers. So there you go for that. Interesting, like overall, just like an interesting portion of the schedule here. And I do think, like, if you got like extra like bronzes and silvers in your lineup, in your binder, it's not a bad idea to try and start offloading them the next couple days due to the new program coming. And while those 5 bosses might not be insane or anything to lower the market, I do think maybe they've heard a lot of our complaining about the lack of pack rewards with the team affinity and everything. So they might just give us more rewards going forward because you know how they've gotten rid of 2 popular programs the last couple of years, the XP path and Face of the Franchise being separated from our XP path. They might actually just give us more packs along the path or something going forward to kind of like satiate us a little bit, which would, obviously, as the summer moves on, they give us more packs. Maybe the market and the margins would end up opening up in the marketplace, allow you to flip a little bit better. But we'll see, of course, what they end up doing with that. What kind of cool cards they bring out, if they bring out anything new. Temper your expectations though, because they just say 5 bosses. They don't say any like hidden legends there, which are generally what they mean to tease new stuff like they did with Santo. But maybe they could surprise us, which would be awesome. Otherwise, we got new uniform and Tops Now stuff on Friday, also on the 29th. So lot of content coming out later this week. That's it for the video. Let me know if you got any questions or comments down below. We'll always love to talk about this. Talking about it on like stream, every day we'll be there. Twitch.tv/Gutfoxx. So always good to chat there about new things. But that's it. Oh yeah, SDS did tease the bosses as like spring cleaning. So maybe the cleanup hitters or locked at Yankee Stadium with the trash on the field. We don't know. But thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Really helps with the channel. I'll see you tomorrow. We got some good stuff on the way on the channel. But take it easy, dudes.